question is question number 20. Part 1, it says factorize this is a quadratic equation where the a coefficient is 1, which is the nicest one that you can have. Okay, is this one you can go? No problem. Can you take the spare paper with you to do for homework? See you next week, inshallah. Here, grab that. Leave your homework behind, the one you got to hand it to me on the table. Make sure your name's on there. Okay, we've got to factorize x squared minus 12x plus 27. A quadratic equation given in the format with the a value at the front is 1's gift. Right, we are now looking for, let's set it out. The answer is going to be in this format. We are looking for two numbers that when you multiply them together, they give you an answer of, what do they give you an answer of? Plus 27. When you multiply these two numbers together, they give you plus 27. And when you add these two numbers, they give you an answer of minus 12. So we are now going to be considering the, we are now going to be considering the factorial pairs of plus 27, which add up to minus 12. Now remember, they're going to add up to minus 12, so we need to consider the negative factors, isn't it? So let's have a look. So 27. How do we make two numbers times to give 27? It will be minus 1 times by minus 27, or minus 3 times by minus 9. Okay, which one of those do you reckon we should use?
The bottom one.
Okay, if you wanted this factor list to be exhaustive, then you need to put this one on as well. But that actually wouldn't help out with that question because we need to get a negative answer, but that's an exhaustive list of all the factorial pairs and multiply to give you that. So that's the one we're interested in. So what do we do with those minus 3 and minus 9?
In the brackets.
Now, does it matter the order I put them into?
No.
It doesn't matter the order because the coefficients of the x here is 1 and 1. If that was 2 or 3, then the order is very important. So we have now factorized it. Okay, the next question says solve the equation, which is the same one. We have to solve the same equation now. When we solve this equation, we have to make it equal to 0. To make it equal to 0, we say if I got this numbers here and this number here, two numbers which are going to multiply together to give you 0. What fact do we know? One, the brackets must be equal to 0. So we say either x minus 3, the first one is equal to 0. This first bracket will give us total of 0 to give us an answer of 0, because 0 times by whatever is 0, isn't it? So x minus 3 is 0. So the x value will be equal to 3. So opposite of minus 3 is Hatfield. What I'm doing now, I'm teaching you here, this is the pure mathematical method. The method, I'll show you this shortcut method as well. So we say either this first bracket is 0 or the second bracket is 0. So what will be the value of x then? So x has a value of, it's opposite of minus plus 9. This is in a sense the long way of doing it. Let me just show you the quick way of doing it. In this kind of situation here, what's opposite of minus 3?
Plus 3.
That's the first answer. What's the opposite of minus 9?
Plus 9.
Plus 9, the second answer. How long does that take? 2 seconds? Okay. So if you want to do a quick examination, just reverse what's in there. If that's minus 3, the solution is plus 3. If that's minus 9, the solution is plus 9. That's after all that working out. And if it's plus 3, it will be minus 3 and so on. Just reverse it. Okay, that one's done. Okay, factorize y squared minus 100. Students' first reaction, factorize y squared for minus 100 is, how do I do that? There's no common factors. We're not doing common factors in this question. This is called the difference of two squares. So, IFRA. Y squared is quite obvious. That's a square number. That's y squared. What is 100?
10.
Squared. Okay. 100 is not 10. 100 is 10 squared. So here we have two square numbers, y squared and minus 10 squared. Now, when we put them into our answer, what do we get? We copy the y down, minus 10, and then we copy the same thing again, but we make the second minus into a plus. Okay, if you look at the algebra for it, a squared minus b squared will factorize like this. Okay. And that's done, that's finished. It says factorize it, we've done it. If you were to multiply this out, you get exactly y squared minus 100. That's done. Prove algebraically that the difference between the squares of any two consecutive integers is equal to the sum of these two integers. Okay, integers means whole numbers. So for example, if you're looking at numbers, what's the consecutive number to 2? The next consecutive number is 3. And if I add 7, the next consecutive number to 7 is 8. That's what we're looking at numerically. We have to look algebraically. So the 2, we're going to call it n or x, yeah? N. And the next number, the next consecutive number to n would be n and add 1. Okay, so 2 add 1 is 3. If you look at them numerically. Let's go to this now. They want us to prove that the difference between the squares of those two numbers is the same as the sum of them. So let's add them up first. So let's go to this. So n is the first consecutive, n is the first integer, that's the second integer. They're consecutive. That means one follows after the one. Okay? Now let's add them up. What's n add 1?
2n add 1.
So we have to prove that after we square them and minus them, it gives us that total. So let's do that now. Now, the difference between the squares, when you work out the difference, you always start with the large value minus the small value. So let's go back to our original first number. It's consecutive number. Which is the larger out of these two?
The second one.
The second one. So we have to do now n plus 1 squared minus, because the question says here, prove algebraically that the difference is here between the squares of any two consecutive numbers. Difference means the larger the square number minus the small square number. So we got to prove that when we do all of this, it's going to give us that. So let's work that out now. So n plus 1 squared means what? What does it mean? It means n plus 1 times by
n plus 1.
n plus 1 minus n squared. Let's multiply this bracket. We start the first element here, n, and we multiply by each of the other two elements. So what do we have now? N times by n is?
N squared.
N times by plus 1 is?
Plus 1n.
Plus 1n or just plus n?
Yeah.
Okay?
Plus n again.
Yeah? Next one we have, we start the second element, plus 1, we multiply by the n, and then by the plus 1. Right. What's plus 1 times by n?
Plus n.
Plus n again. What's plus 1 times by plus 1?
Plus 1.
Plus 1. And then we got minus n squared at the end. Okay, right. We need to simplify that. So, Saf, I have an n squared here and a minus n squared here. What happens to those two? They cancel each other out, they become 0. Because n squared, take away n squared is nothing. So what we left with is n plus n, which is?
2n add 1.
Okay, so does this give us the same answer as this?
Yeah.
Yes, done. Okay, question number 22, folks. I'm going to come back to that in a bit. I'm going to use the visualizer and put that question into the video, because that's quite difficult to do on the board with the scale factor minus half and stuff. Question number 23. The diagram shows a solid hemisphere. Solid hemisphere. What is a sphere? Sphere is a ball.
A ball.
A ball, yeah? A 3D shaped ball. A hemisphere means half a ball. Of radius 5 centimeters, that's a radius. Diagram not accurately drawn, so again, please don't start measuring and stuff. And find the total surface area of the solid hemisphere. Give your answers in terms of pi. That means you don't need to physically work out any numbers. Start multiplying by 3.14 in that. Okay, right. What we need to do first of all, to work out the surface area of a hemisphere, I want everybody to turn to the first page, inside the first page of the exam paper. We'll have a formula sheet there. And we have here the surface area of a sphere.
4 pi r squared.
4 over 3 pi r.
No,
Oh, that's the volume.
That's volume.
Okay, 4 pi r. Okay, 4 pi r squared. The surface area of a hemisphere is 4 pi r squared. Good. Now, that's the surface area of a sphere. We've got a hemisphere. So what do we do that formula, Ifra?
Half it.
Half it.
So we have to half this formula.
2 pi r squared or 2 pi r squared u or something.
Okay.
Wait, put the
So the total surface area is going to be half that what we got, 4 pi squared divided by 2. And then what we're going to add to it, we're going to work out the area of the half of the curvy part of the ball shape, curvy part, and we're also going to work out the area of the flat circle on the face, the flat base, which is the circle, which is the bottom part there. And what's the area of a circle?
Pi squared.
Pi r squared. Okay, right. Now what is the value of the radius?
5 centimeters.
5 centimeters. Alright, should we put 5 in those places and start simplifying now? Yeah?
Yeah.
Should we go for it? So we're going to do now 4 times by pi times by
5 squared.
5 squared
Over 2.
divided by 2 plus pi times by 5 squared. And what can we do with this 4 and that 2 there?
We're just
We can, 2
simplify.
divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 2 times by pi times by 5 squared. What's 5 squared?
25.
What's 25 times by 2?
50.
So what's 50 times by pi? 50 pi.
50. Yeah.
Okay, what's 5 squared? 25. 25 times by pi is?
25.
25 pi.
5.
And what's 50 pi at 25 pi?
75 pi.
So it was give your answer in terms of pi and that question's done.
Done.